This is Cali Cat Tap Talks, and I'm here with Kay. Very, very unique, down to earth, special individual. I known him from being a distributor to owning a restaurant in Berkeley to now he is in El Sobrante and he's at Cooper Mug. He owns this place. So I'm going to hand you right over to Kay. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, thank you so much, Kelly Cat. This is amazing. You guys are giving me this opportunity to kind of, shed some light towards the business, and I'm getting an opportunity to kind of talk about, my experiences. And yes, we are in El Sobrante. This is the new restaurant we just opened up a few months ago. It's called the Copper Mug. We have a tap room, a cocktail bar, and a full restaurant, dining restaurant. And from here, we'll go to the questions. Let's go.
All right. So this one is from beer to hospitality, the big shift. What inspired you to transition from the beer distributing world, especially working with a brand like Knee Deep, and into owning and operating bars and restaurants like Cooper Mug?
So, Needy was an amazing experience for me. When I joined Needy, I believe in 2022, and I was only there for like a very brief moment. I was there for about a year and so, but that was the first time I kind of learned the micro brewery side of the business.
Uh
I
huh.
used to work for Anheuser Busch. That was a big, big distribution, big company. And we were representing big brands. We were representing Bud Light, Budweiser, Stella, Elysian, Golden Road. But this was the first time I came on the micro side of the business, and this also gave me another opportunity to work towards on premise, which is bars, restaurants. I've always worked on the off premise side of business, so liquor stores, 7-Eleven, CVS's, all that kind of stuff. And with Knee Deep, I was able to learn the restaurant side and the on premise side. So that gave me a lot of insights, which eventually helped me start my own business.
Wow. I didn't even know that you was at Anheuser-Busch.
Yes. So
Wow.
so let me talk about a little bit like my brief history. Not gonna bore you with my everything,
No, no,
where I
it's
went to
okay.
school,
It's
where I went to
okay.
college stuff. Okay, so I came to US in 2011, and I got into the beverage industry back in 2018. It was one of my best friends who took me to the Anheuser Busch. His name is Kush. He works for Nestle now. So he kind of knew my skills, and he was like, "Man, you would be a good salesman." I was like, "Okay," So I got into Anheuser Busch. I literally started as a merchandiser, where
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
merchandiser's job is to go to accounts like Lucky, Savings, and fill in beers in the cooler. But with my skills, I was lucky enough. I rose it up all the way, becoming a relief rep, a rep. Then I became a TMS, trade marketing supervisor. So I ran the category department and the reset department, and then some of the the sales side of the business. AB was a big step for me. It was a big company, and I like till date I'm so proud that I work for Anheuser Busch. It's one of the best companies I worked for. And that's where kind of I learned the beer industry. I kind of made that shift because before that I was a whiskey drinker. So that's when I was like, okay, like beer is not that bad. Let me try this.
You were changing your palate up a little bit from the whiskey to the beer, so that's good. So, what was the defining moment where you said, "I'm going to buy and turn around this business"? Was this a personal story and motivation? Was there what decision was behind this?
So that was, my turning point came in about 2021. We all get into a comfort zone. I was, when I joined Anheuser-Busch, I kind of found my niche. I was good with sales, don't want to brag about myself. I was very good with sales. I became sales rep of the month, and I used to handle all the C stores, which is 7-Eleven, CVS, Quick Stops. I used to
Mm-hmm.
handle those kind of businesses, and I was doing amazing. And when I became a TMS, I got promoted. I came into the management side of the business. I used to handle the category department and the reset department.
Mm-hmm.
Category department is the department that goes to like accounts and reset the accounts, how the beer should, where the beer is placed, what beer should go into what section, that kind of a thing. Um, I remember 2021, and I believe it was like June, and me and my team, we were just awarded the number one category department in the nation. We had
Really?
about
Really?
18 WODs, and we had the most amount of space gain. We were given awards. There was an award called the NASA Awards. We were given that, and man, everything was going well. The job was going well. A month after that, company one day calls a meeting and says like, "Oh, we are shutting down this location." We were all shocked. We were like, "Hold on,
What's going on?
what just happened?" Like, we were just awarded the number one in the nation. I'm not talking about in the Bay Area or in California. I'm talking about the nation.
Wow.
And from there, like, we all were in shock. All my friends in the sales and the marketing said, like, what just happened? You know. Anyway, like, we were doing decent in that company, and that was kind of like, when that happened, I took a step back, and I was like, okay, like, let me rethink this. There's plenty of opportunities out there. I could have gone to another beer company, which I did. I went to Knee Deep, but that was the turning point for me. That was the light bulb moment. Like, okay, you know what? Like, if I'm gonna work hard for somebody, and if I can make another company successful, I can maybe do it for myself. And another thing was like the reliability with the companies. Like, again, I love Anheuser-Busch. I still do. But Light is still one of my favorite beers, the Club Ultra. But it was like, like, I need to own myself. And that is where I kind of decided, like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna start my own business, right? But I didn't start that right away. That's when I went to Knee Deep. I got an opportunity to become a regional area manager for Knee Deep for Contra Costa County. I handled all the cities in Contra Costa County for them, and I learned the on-premise restaurant side of the business. And from there, then I made the jump from Knee Deep to towards owning restaurants. So it was just like the turning point for me. I give it up to Anheuser Busch when they shut down. It was a blow to me. I was like, oh my god, I just got promoted. I was number one, and now the company's shutting down, right? So I was like, like, I have to think about this. So that's when that light bulb moment came into my life.
Wow. It sounds like you got an amazing story and you got a trade. So a lot of people now they're talking about instead of going to a university, there's trade schools, and it sounds like you probably did go to university. I don't know your background, but a trade school. I mean, you got a good trade, which is that's pretty good.
So yeah, frankly, like, I did my law degree from India. I did my 5 year law degree from India, and then I went into MBA. I never finished my MBA. Technically, I did like first year where you get a diploma in business management on the sales and marketing. I did that from India. Uh, but like, and not that I'm not saying like people shouldn't go to colleges and schools. It's very important. Please do. But end of the day, what I learned was out in the market when I was out there, doing the sales. What we call it, like, where I became street smart. That's where I actually learned how to sell stuff, how to manage businesses, how to crack into that system.
Wow. So, what was one of your toughest challenges when you opened up here?
Oh my god, we gonna open the wrong box of worms. Okay, so, and I hope I don't get in trouble with this. Like, let me start with this. Finances is always the number one hurdle you have to cross. With
Okay.
any business you talk about, you know. And I know there's a lot of people that will say like, okay, no, you need a great idea and the money will come. No, you have to figure out your finances. Like, if I just talk about our industry in California, just to open up a normal restaurant and a tap room, we are looking at roughly about $300,000 to $400,000. That's normal numbers on these places.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So number one was the finances.
Uh-huh.
Uh, some of the hurdles that I felt like, it's pretty much like the same story for every restaurant you're going to talk to, was the regulations, was the county regulations that are there. And I respect them. They are there for a reason, and most of them are reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I give you a small example, we remodeled our kitchen, and we put a new hood system in there. Because the old one was like out of code. Hey, perfect, makes sense. It's a fire hazard. So we have to change that. But some of those regulations have the requirements that they have is like scary, like the paperwork that they want. We have to get an engineer, get these plans drawn. Like half of that thing can actually be done in person. If so I feel like, not roasting the counties too much. Again, I don't want to get in trouble with the county. I feel like they need to relax, and they relax the rules and regulations that they have. Not that, like, the restaurants can do whatever they want to do, or the business can do whatever they want to do. No, this all we always need, checks and balances, but relax out a little bit.
Relax some of the
If
checks and balances.
exactly somebody's trying to bring a new business to respectfully to a smaller city. Like, I had a business in Berkeley before this big city. I started a business in El Sobrante. It's a very small city.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
There's a not respectfully there's not a lot of businesses that are starting up in El Sobrante. I haven't seen a lot of business come up now. That change is coming. So I feel like counties or the city should be more acceptable to these ideas. So for me, like that, those were a few big hurdles, I would say. There's always like more challenges. You don't know what's behind that wall. Once you take the wall down, then like, okay, oh my God, this is there too. But these were the bigger issues, I would say. Everything else will just fall in place.
Was falling in place
It
for
will,
you, so
it will
everything
take
was all
time.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool because there's a lot of people out there. They're trying to open up business or get started with business and going through the city, and so they just need to know there's checks and balances that they need to follow, and probably need to just do a little bit of research and write down their pros and cons, and then sit down with the city and say, hey, is this what the right thing? Is this affordable? Like you're saying, you got to have the finances
Yes,
there for the
yes.
at least for the first 2 years.
One of the things I hopefully maybe I'll do that one day. And I talk to so many of my friends who want to get into the business, who understand what I've done with this place. They see the success out of the business. There's no set plan. There's no layout plan. And this is again going back to the counties. If I, like how do you start a business? Which department you have to go to? This, like, in our industry, there's building department, there's planning department, there's sewage department, there's health department, there's fire department.
There's so
you
many
know. So
departments.
yeah, yeah, like, and then, like, yes, I wish there was a place where somebody can go in and say, like, okay, hey, you know what, I want to start a restaurant. What requirements do I need? Rather than going individually to every single department, and respectfully, like, the language that's in those plans is like, so, like, it's like solving a code. Like, we need a little bit more a simpler version of these. I mean, we should encourage more people to start businesses. But there has to be a simpler layout plan
Yeah, for
for
them to
that.
start the
Yes,
business.
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's understandable because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of dreamers, a lot of people that want to start a business but don't know where to go.
Where to start? Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
platform like this, listening, and people will learn.
Yes,
So,
yes.
with you opening up this place and you gave us a quick tour of it earlier, it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
How did you come up with it with the menu, with the beer selection, the whiskey selection, and just the food? Because I know you got the world famous chef that works here as well.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
go ahead and talk about
Okay,
that.
so let me talk about this place a little bit. I'm just gonna give you guys the address. I'm pretty sure she's gonna put it in. There's 4203 Valley View Road in El Sobrante, California. This is East Bay, Contra Costa. A lot of people ask me why I chose El Sobrante. There's a few reasons behind that. Number one, I live in Rodeo, which is very close to El Sobrante. It's very easy. It's like I live like 7 minutes away from this place. But that was not the only reason. When I exited out of my previous restaurant in Berkeley, which is an amazing place. It's called the Yeti. Please check it out. When I exited out, I was trying to get this idea that if I can get a place which is like old and maybe beaten down, and I can turn that place around into the design that I have in my mind, into the idea that I have in my mind. So number one was the tap room. I always say, and please, the beer industry, don't hate me for this. So there is a beer bars and there are tap rooms, right? And I feel like there's a difference. A tap room is like, where we have 90% of our selection is local. When I say local, within California, that's our selection. So I have about 21 taps over here, and 20 of them are local. You know, so that was one thing I wanted to kind of bring in new. Another reason behind me choosing this specific location was, and I'm gonna name like six cities, five, six cities: Crockett, Hercules, Rodeo, Pinole, El Sobrante, and San Pablo. I was looking at like what are the kind of restaurants we have over here, what kind of the bars we have over here. Guess what? There wasn't one good local tap room. There are a lot of bars over here.
Yeah, I'm
You
kind of
know,
shocked on that too, because there's a lot of us beer heads. We're looking for that tap room, that
exactly.
taste of beer.
I mean, Hercules is one of the most beautiful cities around the cities I told you guys around this area. But
Yeah,
again, when it comes to restaurants or like a good cocktail bars or a good tap rooms, we didn't have much options, and so that was one of the things I wanted to do. I was like, what if I can bring in a craft oriented restaurant in this area. And frankly, that I paid off. Like most of my customers, they love this idea that I brought in all craft beers, and then same thing with my cocktails. We are using more premium selection of liquor. All the cocktails are like handmade. Eventually, I would love to get into like cocktails on taps,
hmm
but that's down the line. With the food selection, this was a funny thing, by the way. I we serve Indian cuisines,
hmm
we serve American appetizers, and we serve Mississippi style catfish, so soul food, what we can call it. And my chef is from Mississippi, by the way. His name is Chef Thomas. He's a retired veteran. He's from Mississippi. He's been doing this since 1993. So it's funny when I took over this place, and I kind of asked that question to myself. I was like, when was the last time you guys went to a restaurant that served Indian food with American soul food or Mississippi style soul food?
I know,
None, zero,
I
right?
know, no,
So I
no.
was like, what if I can bring that together, right? And then another reason behind this was, like nowadays, like like families, there are like four people in the family. Let's say like it's four people, right? Mom wants something else, dad wants something else, right? Dad wants a good beer, mom wants a good cocktail, kids want some appetizers like I know tater tots or
Something simple, not too
tenders and all
complex.
that, right? And then the one kid is like, okay, I just want a pizza or I don't know, ice cream or something, right? So it's like in one family, it's like they want four options. So there isn't a lot of places that are offering all those options. So that was one of the reasons behind this place. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I'll have Mississippi style soul food, right, with Indian cuisines, with an American appetizer menu. And it's funny if you guys look at my menu. That was a joke. I put it on my menu. One of my customers, his name is Mike Shankar, very nice guy, and he was like, "You know what, Kay? What would be funny? You're doing Indian food. You're doing soul food. It would be funny if you put an Italian item on your menu." So we so we have an item called affogato, which is coffee and ice cream. Frankly, it's an Italian cuisine. I put it on my menu just for fun, and it literally says Mike's affogato.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So is
yeah,
it popular though? Is it
it's,
popular?
it's happening. It's
It's
happening. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, my root beer float is like, if you talk about like mocktails, my root beer float is like one of my best selling drinks. Who doesn't like root beer float? Ice cream root beer with whipped cream and cherry on the top.
And it's root beer, not real beer.
No,
It's
it's just
straight up root beer.
it's straight up root beer made in San Carlos, California. It's made
Uh-huh.
with agave nectar. There's no corn syrup in it. It's a local root beer, and it's actually in a keg system. So it's the same system that we use for the beer. So
hmm
it's freshly carbonated root beer. Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of
Wow.
my story behind like this place. Why I kind of collaborated different cultures, different cuisines together to kind of create one spot.
Yeah, so you just made it a
Yeah.
multicultural and people come in and enjoy.
Yes.
And the most important thing when we talked earlier today, you like the music to be low, level, mellow, smooth,
Yes.
so that people can have a conversation and eat and just stay a little longer than normal instead of having that boom, 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 boom in the background.
This is like a personal thing for me. When I was back in India, I'm talking about like when I was a kid, and bars were not really a thing in India. Now it is. Now there's a big scene of like craft beers and cocktail bars and mocktail bars. Back in the days, like when I used to go, me, my brother, my sister, and my parents used to go out and eat. We
hmm
used to talk to one another. And yes, there was no phones back then, and like there was no music, like people used to talk to one another, they used to eat the food, they used to talk to one another. So one of the things like with this place, what I'm doing right now is like I keep my music very low. We have a jukebox. If people want to play something, they can play.
Yeah.
And my restaurant is kind of created in this way where it's like two sections. So we have like a bar section, and we have like TVs and all that, and then we have like a dine-in section, where people can go and just dine in. But my music is always like very like sometimes I normally play some jazz, something soft, or instrumental soft music.
Uh-huh.
Because for me, it was like when people go out to eat, they should have a conversation. They, it's I would love you to take a picture and like post it later. I have a quote on my wall, which says like the idea is not people discovering places. The idea is people discovering each other.
Oh wow, that's a very powerful statement.
Yes. So like frankly, like with this restaurant, that was my idea. That was my vision. Like if I can create a place, people can come. So it's like checking boxes. And this is frankly like this is against the industry doing so many things in one place. But and that was my whole point. Why not? Normally we always talk about this like, okay, no, you stick to one thing at a time, one thing, that's it. You just sell beer, that's it. You don't try to do this and that. I was like, no, why not? Why not try different ideas? Maybe they work, maybe they don't work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. That's fine. I'm not respectfully, I'm not accountable to anybody. I'm accountable to myself. Right. So I brought in the beer, I brought in the cocktails, I brought in the food. We have the Indian, we have the American, we have the appetizer,
Yeah.
the dine-in experience. And it's all for like so people can come and they can connect to one another. And most of my customers like that. When they come in, they were like, man, we love one, this place is so light up. I don't have like any dark windows, anything. The ambience, I try to do like a little bit of a greenery ambience, so it's a cleaner ambience. And people like that they can talk to one another. It's like it's not like too loudish. And again, like I'm not against those places, like, hey, that's their style of
Yeah,
business,
yeah, yeah.
which is fine for them. But the style of business that I am trying to create over here, this is the idea that I want to put out there. So people can come, they can relax, they can come with their families,
Yeah.
and I've seen a little bit of a change already when people come with their kids, and nowadays it's a normal thing, all the kids are on their phone, so are the parents, like
I
I'm
know.
on my phone most of the
Strolling
time,
through trying to
looking at my
yeah.
Yelp reviews and my next door reviews and all that, but it's like I've seen like when kids come in, like with their parents, they're enjoying the food, they're enjoying that place, that ambience that they're into.
That's good though. That's good. The one thing that captured me when I came in here is how everything was set up, and I know, and I could see that you put your heart in everything. The beer taps, you could just see it. The whiskey, the liquor, and then the other thing is you have an amazing. I know it's because of your background, but when I walk in here and I see beers that I can't get and you get them,
Thank you.
yeah. I mean, and then you can buy them. So you have a beautiful selection of beers, and then you have what was in this one right
So
behind you?
yeah, so we had kombuchas,
Yeah.
ciders, sours, stouts, porters, IPAs, hazies. I have a new. It's a Mexican styled. It's somewhere near between beer and seltzers. It's called the
Mm-hmm.
tapiches or
Okay.
tapaches. That's how we pronounce it, I believe. And the base is pineapple, and they're like really good drinks. So we got those ones. So with the beers, like I again, the one plus point I have is I worked in the industry, so I know people, so I can get beers
Yeah.
that most
Yeah. I
people
know.
can't
I know.
get. Like one of the examples is like the Cellar Maker. We have the Cellar Maker Monstrous Oils. It's a quad hazy IPA at 12% at 100 IBUs. So if people who are listening, IBU stand for International Bitter Units. So the greater the number, the better the beer. This is a quad hazy at 100 IBUs, which is amazing.
Yeah, I'm
It
gonna be getting some of that before I
yeah,
go.
it doesn't taste like 12% at all,
Yeah.
and same thing, like we have like the Waldo Lagunitas. Waldo is a once a year release.
Yeah.
We have like a whole to go section that I built in where people can come and mix and match. So I have like 16-ounce cans and 12-ounce cans, and people can come, the customers can come and they can just do like a mix and match of like 4 cans.
I love when people do the mix and match. because I don't want to just buy the four. I want a variety. And some places that you go to, you have to buy the full four pack. And I think people out there, they need to give us more variety, or do some like, this was the staff's picks. Do the staff picks, or do like a surprise. This is a surprise, four box.
So to defend that a little bit from businesses that are not doing
Yeah, because
this,
you have that
it is it
background.
is it is it's an inventory issue.
Okay.
Like I know how to manage it. I from the industry, so I know what I'm gonna bring in, what's gonna be sold, how I'm gonna kind of match it. Like I have two different price points. I have a 19.99 and a 24.99 price point. I know which beers I can push out. People kind of trust me and kind of rely on what I will offer them. Like, hey,
Okay.
what is a good hazy? What do you recommend, man? What's a good cider you recommend? Uh, but like for most accounts, it's a big inventory hassle because you understand, like if you have, let's say, 4 pack of beer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody buys one, now it's 3 cans over there. So it's a little bit of an inventory issue for some accounts. But on the other hand, if we look at the customer base right now, as you just said, not everybody wants one 4 pack, right? People like, hey, you know what? Oh my God, that looks good and that looks good. Like I want one of that. 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 Right? And then I want to decide, okay, hey, you know what? This is my favorite. Maybe the next time I come, then I'll get a 4 pack. And
Yeah.
most of my customers, that's what they're doing. When they come in over here, they choose 111. They're like, oh my God, this is really good. Now I'm gonna go for this. So
Yeah.
we have that option rather than just buying everything at once, and you might like them and you might not like them, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So that's a good thing. Another thing, and I forgot to ask this when we were talking about your taps and all that. Um, how often do you clean your taps?
Okay, so this is a topic I really, really wanted to talk about, and I please don't take me wrong. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I've been in the industry, so one of the issues I've seen in the industry, especially, I'm not talking about the breweries and all that. I'm talking about like mostly restaurants and tap rooms. The line system that we have. There's two kind of systems. Just to explain real quick, there's a short draw, which is like less than 5 feet, and there's a long draw, which is like the glycol system, which is like about 20, 25 feet. Like the lines are running from different places, from different cold box to your taps. Uh, Very often I see those lines, they're clean, they're cleaned regularly. We have companies, every distributor company will send their line cleaner. They'll
Mm-hmm.
clean the lines, but how often do you replace the lines? Mine is a new system. I just put that system in, and luckily, I know how to do that. So I built my own system. I just got brand new lines,
Mm-hmm.
and quote unquote, like, yes, these lines can last for a very, very, very long time. But, like, eventually, if you keep cleaning something again and again and again, there's always some tarnish that happens in those lines. So going back to that, like, yes, I will be replacing my lines every 3 years. Although these lines don't go bad for, like, I would say 7 to 10 years, but I still want to replace my lines every 3 years. It's more about the quality of the product.
Okay.
If I'm selling stuff like Moonraker, Ghost Town, Bunny with a Chainsaw, Cellar Maker, Fieldworks, we're talking about like top of the line beers, Pure Project, it's not just like, it's a good beer, but it's also the vessel you sell it out of. It's also about, are you serving it at the right temperature? I mean, if I put a Fieldworks beer out in the sun, it doesn't matter how good it is brewed, it's ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a, even although it's like in a can and all that, it's not a good beer anymore. So yeah, lines. I respectfully, like I would say, it's a topic that nobody really focuses on.
Uh huh.
I talk to a lot of people about this, and I go to a lot of restaurants, I go to a lot of bars, and I'll drink the same beer that I'm serving. And I wanted to see, like, what's the difference, and that's a big difference when it comes to the lines have not been replaced in years. And like, so my request would be to all the restaurant industry is, please take a look at that. It's not, yes, it's a little bit of a hassle to replace them, and yes, it's a little bit of a cost that goes behind replacing these lines. But again, if we talk about serving quality, that's part of that quality.
Yeah, but it may cost, but like you said, serving the quality. Like if I'm coming in, I'm a customer. I want a good tasting beer. I'm going to keep coming back for a good tasting
Exactly.
beer. And by me and other people coming back, it's going to pay for it in the long run.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So there's a lot of people right now struggling with their businesses, right? Or afraid to start one. What would you say to them about keeping their dreams alive, especially during these hard times?
Uh, you know, Number one, I would say is like, ideas are great, visions is good. It's always good to have that vision, and always good to have that idea, right? But number one, put your plan in a pen and paper. Write it down, right? And don't jump blindly. Although somebody gave me this suggestion, and I'm thankful for the suggestions. Anybody who gives you some suggestion, you should always be thankful. But don't jump into something blindly. uh, Contrary to what people say, like, yeah, no, no, jump in and you will figure out how to swim. No, don't do that. Like, at least you should have 50% of the plan ready. 50% of the layout should be ready, right? Another thing is, whatever industry you want to go in,
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to be a little outgoing. You have to have a little bit of open-mindedness. You have to take criticism, and you have to take suggestions. You don't have to follow them. I mean, I have people always suggest me, like, do this, do that. Take the suggestions. Be open to those ideas. End of the day, it's your business. It is your decision. End of the day, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you are trying to get into a business, one of the things I would suggest is go to somebody who's already doing that, right? I'll give you a quick example. Two of my bartenders that work for me now, that work with me, Mr. Ronnie, we call him Mr. Whiskers. He's
Mm-hmm.
a funny guy. It's funny. Look him up, Ronnie Whiskers. He has I have mustaches both sides, and I'm proud of him. But it's a swag thing for me, right? He has mustaches on one side.
He only has it on one side.
He's on one side. Yeah, we call him Whiskers.
Yeah.
He's a stand-up comic. He's a stand-up comic. He's an amazing guy. Guess what? And I have another bartender called Miss Emily. Amazing lady, amazing aura. Both of these were my customers. They came to me. Ebony came to me. I was like, "Hey, Kay, you know what? Like, I love talking to people. By the way, you can tell I talk a lot. It is good for the podcast, though. So she came to me. She was like, "You know what? I would love to have my own business, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. So she just came to us, she's like, "Hey, can you hire me?" And actually, I was looking for a bartender at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and she was like, I have no idea about bartending. I've never done that. She doesn't know how to make drinks, pour beers, or anything. So I'm training her. But it was the conversation that she had with me, like, hey, I would like to do that. Same thing with Ronnie Whiskers. He's my customer. He was my customer. He was like, hey, you know what? Like, man, I love how you make your drinks. I love, how you talk about your cocktails that you create. I would love to. I would love to learn that trade. So can I come and work for you? And I was in need of that before. Like, I was like, yeah, 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 sure, you can come and work for me. But if you go to people who are already in the industry, let's say, you're trying to get into, I don't know, ice cream industry, right? Go to
Uh-huh.
people who sell ice cream. Go to people who sell beer or cocktail, and just talk to them like, hey, this is my idea. You know, it yes, you have to step outside your comfort zone a little bit. You have to step outside and talk to people like, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? What is the worst they're gonna say? No. All right, that's it. It's okay. What's the big deal? They said no. You go home. They go home. That's it. You don't lose anything, right?
You don't
You don't
lose
gain
anything
anything.
at
You
all,
don't lose anything.
but what you do gain is listening to the suggestions, as long as you learn from the suggestions that are given to you. Because sometimes people they listen and it's just in one ear, right? It has to retain, and you have to understand it. And a lot of people need to understand it's okay to fail, as long as you understand from your failure. And so I think that's very very important. People when they fail, they jump and ship, they gone.
Yeah.
No, find out what went wrong
What went
and
wrong?
what you can do to turn it around. And like you said, it's okay. Start asking questions and ask people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally agree
I mean,
with that.
one thing I want to add to that is like, we all have an ego, right? We all
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We can fake it like, okay, I don't. We all do, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes there are suggestions that will hurt it, and I want to share this while we are talking about this. When I took over this place in El Sobrante, uh, every person that I talked to, they were like, "Hey, this is a bad idea. You're not gonna make any money in El Sobrante. Nothing ever lasts in El Sobrante. Like there's not much happening in El Sobrante,
Hmm.
And I was like, it kind of hurts me a little bit. It kind of hurted my ego. Like, man, you know what? So it was like the thing, like, you know what? Like, I'll prove you guys wrong, which is good to have it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't become arrogant with that. You have to stay humble. You still have to listen to those guys, because when they told me, there were about four businesses that was in this location before me. There was Joe's Pizza, Four Corners. There was another Four Corners. There was Champions, and for some reason they didn't last it, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, if people are talking about this like the business don't last, what's the reason? And can we fix that, right? So I feel like that was one of the issues that I fixed over here in this location, was like, how about we bring something premium, right? How about we bring beer that are local, like 21 beer taps, cocktails, nice liquors like Stag, Weller, Fortalezas.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
if we give that, but I learned that from those ideas. I learned that from those points that people said, like, hey, you won't be successful in this place. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I can fix those issues, right? But at the same time, it's also like, you know what? Like, I wanna show them, like, hey, you know what? I'll make it happen.
I
Make it
think you
happen.
did make it happen, because I saw that sign
No,
out there when I came in.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness! You was like voted like number
Yeah.
one for
But,
the month or
yeah,
something
business
like
of the
that.
month. We
Business
were
of the
voted
month.
business of the month, and I feel like I'm still trying. I'm still
Yeah, you're
trying.
still trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't know about success. I'm
and
still trying.
you're still trying to, or you're going to be adding more stuff, more
Yes.
features
Yes.
here,
Yes. Yes.
and you have like most of your nights are packed.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said your Friday nights your most packed night
Weekends are
ever. It's
good.
kind of
Weekends are
crazy.
good.
Yeah.
Weekdays right now are a little slower, but like, it will take time.
Hmm.
You asked me this earlier, like, what is the suggestion I want to give to, like, the upcoming people who want to get into the business? Patience, very important. Patience is very important.
Yeah. Patience and learning.
I mean, you have to learn. You have to live to learn with patience. Because I took over this place, I believe, in January 2024.
Hmm.
I opened up in Feb 2025. So it took me 1 year to open this place, and patience is one of the most important parts of that journey.
Wow. Wow. All right. Here's the question: what's the legacy you hope to live? Not, I mean, not live, but leave with Cooper Mug or any future venues. And what's your next journey?
Oh my god, that's the heaviest question anybody has ever asked me. I never, like, thought about it, but like, I feel like I'll answer that in like sections to you.
That's fine.
Number one, like, when we talk about legacy, and I feel like that's very big of a question. I don't know if I'm at the level. But one legacy I want to leave with this spot, specifically this spot in El Sobrante, and the area around this, is like, this is a place where people can come, enjoy, and feel like a nice community spot. That's about the spot. Personally, I feel like the legacy I want to leave is, it's not the money, it's not the cars, it's not the business. I feel like it's how I want people to remember how I treat other people, how I treat my customers, how I
Hmm.
talk to them, um, how I treat my employees, how I treat anybody that comes into this place, or meets me in person. I feel like that is the best legacy I can leave behind. Yeah.
And I think that's a great legacy,
Thank you.
because when I remember when I first met you, I was like, man, this guy's not going to come through or anything. And I called you, and then the second time, so I gave up, and then you showed up, and you overwhelmed me with the gifts that you gave me,
Thank you.
and I was very, very, very thankful. And we've been friends ever since.
Yes.
And And I really appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you.
And then I went out. Your first business. To me, it was your first business.
Yes.
I went out. I did my video out there. Packed place. You turn it around. Then you flipped it around. You sold it, and then you have this beautiful place that you buy.
Thank you.
So I think you're doing amazing things, and the
Thank you.
community here, they will love you, and it sounds like they already do.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm still trying. I'm still trying. Yeah.
All right, guys, we are here with Kay. We're going to end the day right now, and come on out to Cooper Mug.
Thank you.
There's
Thank you.
something for you, and there is good food as well.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you.
food.
Thank you. And like last thing I want to add is like if there's anybody who want to start their own business into the beer or the restaurant industry, you guys are most welcome to come and talk to me. I'm normally here 6 days a week. I'm not here on Wednesdays. But yeah, you can just come and ask for me. K. I go by K. Um, K Sandhu is my name. And I would love to help you guys out if I can, or whatever information I can give you guys. Thank you. Thank you. And I really, really, really appreciate Callie giving me this opportunity to talk about, my establishment, myself. I just love this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you
and
so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
And
you.
there's a lot of
Thank you.
people want to
Thank
hear
you.
your story, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.